will now continue the interpellation and debate. I believe you only have 3 last questions for today.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and I wish to continue during next round of
Yeah.
interpellations.
Duly noted. Secretariat, please take note that the interpellator will have his last 3 questions for today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My next question is something that is not found in the bill, but I notice this is one of the critical functions of the LLDA, and I only wish to clarify if we are purposefully omitting this. The LLDA law, enabling law, provides as a function of the authority to provide the machinery for extending the necessary planning, management, and technical assistance to prospective and existing investors in the region, meaning the Laguna Lake region. I believe that this is material in their case because it's also the authority which approves activities or grants clearances or permits for any beneficial activity conducted in the Laguna Lake region. Are we not going to do the same in the case of the RDA, that it will be an authority that has sufficient technical expertise to provide planning, management, and technical assistance to prospective and existing investors in the Lake Lanao?
Mr. Speaker, I think we did not purposely omit that, but in due time, if there is an amendment, we are amenable because that's a very important provision for economic growth of the Lake Lanao, Lanao del Sur, Mr. Speaker, and BARM.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I go to the next item in the same section, letter C, on the functions, powers and functions of the authority. It makes mention of a listing of projects, programs, activities. So if I may read, study, pass upon, approve, or disapprove all plans, programs, and projects proposed by any LGUs, ministry, offices, agencies within BARM, public corporations and private persons or enterprises on any agri, forestry, industrial and trade, fisheries, and aquatic resource, energy projects or programs. And continuing on. My question, Mr. Speaker, is this function has a similar or a counterpart in the LLDA. However, there was no enumeration of the kinds of PPAs that their authority is mandated to approve or disapprove or deliberate. My question is, are we purposefully enumerating? As students of law, we know that when we enumerate, when we exclude something that is already, or when we fail to mention something that is already excluded. So for example, if there are infrastructure projects that do not cover the enumerated industries, such as, let's say, establishment of docking sites that is not for the purpose of forestry, agri, etc., or reclamation for purposes other than those industries enumerated, are those going to be excluded from the mandate or jurisdiction of the LLDA, or should we be silent in the enumeration so that everything is covered?
Speaker, if we read before the proviso, there is a mention of all programs directly or indirectly impacting Lanao region. So I believe that this provision sufficiently covers all other programs not mentioned in the preceding paragraphs.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, but I think all the industries in the prior enumeration qualifies projects and programs. So my only question is, are we limiting this, or is the intention to cover everything? And in which case, maybe at the appropriate time, we can refine the language to reflect that intent.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are amenable to that proposal because we should not be limiting only to these industries, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And as promised, my last question for today, and again, I wish to continue on a separate day. Letter F of the functions of the of the authority is on the preparation of a water quality management report and program on a continuing basis. My only question is, at present, without the RDA, who conducts this water quality management assessments?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure who conducts. Maybe other agencies conduct for the water quality of Lanao. But I think 5 years ago, in 2005, but not 5 years ago, there was a quality management study that was released, and it was grade A classification. I'm not sure if this grade A classification is still the one that is quality of the Lake Lanao. Grade A meaning it can still be drunk.
So that means in 2005, one agency of the government conducted a quality management assessment, water quality management assessment of the Lake Lanao. And we are just not sure which one is it. But therefore, when we input this or include this in the functions or powers of the authority, then we will take away that power from that authority, from that entity, from that government agency.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm not yet sure if it's a government or if it's a thesis.
Is it not the MENRE?
No, Mr. Speaker, because that was before the BARM, Mr. Speaker. That was 2005. We are not sure who conducts that, but I believe that this is one very important power that should be given to the RDA, because it's the lead agency together with all the different ministries that will be able to do the job, Mr. Speaker, effectively. Because as you can see in the structure, all of the different agencies in the Bangsamoro are there at the provincial level.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. And just to clarify, I only ask this not to remove this from the enumerated powers and functions of the RDA, but to have a complete picture of the current realities or the current legal framework for Lake Lanao, so that we have a better or a well-informed mind when we decide on matters such as this. If, for example, this is being conducted, let's say, by the provincial government, then there must be a concomitant relationship with the former entity on the transfer of function in that respect. Or if it's a DNR of the region in the previous arm, or any other instrumentality of the national or the provincial or the other LGUs, then we just wish to know, so that there can be a less disruptive transition or transfer of that authority or that function to the RDA, should this bill still include this or pass.
Mr. Speaker, because of the administrative code, we will just check if it's there. Because as I understand, the administrative code has enumeration of this function. So maybe we can double check, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And that caps my last three questions. I wish to continue my interpellation in the next period, in the next day's session, Mr. Speaker.
Duly noted. Secretariat, please take note. Supposedly, it would be the Deputy Minority Floor Leader who would be taking the next interpellation. However, it appears that she is no longer around in the Zoom. We will now adjourn today's session. We will continue on the deliberation and consideration of the bill on Lanao Development Authority.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I manifested my intent to interpolate in the chat box. Would
Yes.
that mean
We already scheduled your interpellation to the next session of the Parliament. That would be next month.
thank you, Mr. Speaker?
We will adjourn today. See you in the next session. Session is adjourned until the next session in August.